Hey guys, I'm coming to you real right now. I usually have a script written for my stories. I don't have one right now because I wanted to speak from the heart. A lot of you been asking me in the comments and in messages what happened. I built an entire studio in my house. I was loving telling the YouTube stories about missing people, mysteries, all that. And my father ended up unexpectedly passing away about 5 months ago. That's why I've been gone. I've been getting a lot of comments about that, asking what happened to the videos. I'm getting back in the groove. I had a lot of stuff to take care of, my brother and I. And in the meantime, one of the things that has helped me get through this is playing golf with some friends. And we started another YouTube channel called The Three Putt Problem. It's pretty much about us out on the golf course having fun, talking smack to each other, yelling and screaming, and we're not good golfers, but we're not horrible either. So if you are into golf, check out. Let me get this. Let me see. Zoom in. The Three Putt Problem. At The Three Putt Problem. number 3 PUTTPROBLEM. We're on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Check us out. Watch some clips. In the meantime, I've put together this compilation for you. I haven't had time this week to totally film a new hour-long video. A lot of work goes into it. But I put together some old videos. I put together some new videos. And I just want to get something posted to let y'all know I'm back. I'll be telling my mysterious stories. I got a lot of ideas written down, a lot of things I'm researching. Please stick with me. I love you guys. Thank you for liking, subscribing, following, sharing it with your friends and stepmoms. And if you watch the Three Putt Problem channel, you'll get that joke. Enjoy this compilation. Like, subscribe, comment. Follow the Three Putt Problem on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks, guys.
Dylan Rounds, a determined 19-year-old, vanished under mysterious circumstances in May of 2002 while pursuing his dream of cultivating a life in the remote and unforgiving landscape of Lucin, Utah. Dylan had moved to this isolated corner of the desert with a singular focus: to carve out a future for himself on the land, far from the distractions of modern life. But what began as a young man's noble ambition soon spiraled into a baffling mystery that captured the attention of the nation. The sudden disappearance of Dylan sent shockwaves through the sparse community, a place where everyone knew everyone, and the vast, empty stretches of desert only deepened the sense of unease. The isolation that Dylan had once embraced as a path to independence now seemed to swallow him whole, leaving behind more questions than answers. As days turned into weeks, the search for Dylan became more than just a local effort. It drew the concern and curiosity of people far beyond Utah's border. The strange and unsettling details surrounding his vanishing act left many to wonder what could have happened to this young man who had everything ahead of him. In the shadows of this remote desert, where secrets are as vast as the landscape, the mystery of Dylan Rounds has become a haunting tale, a reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring need to uncover the truth in even the most desolate of places. Dylan Rounds was not your average 19-year-old. From a young age, he possessed an unusual passion for farming, a connection to the land that seemed almost timeless, as if he were born in the wrong century. While others his age were drawn to the bustle of cities and the distractions of modern materialistic life, Dylan was captivated by the quiet, unwavering pull of the earth. This passion led him to make a bold and solitary move, leaving behind the familiar comforts of home to stake his claim in one of the most remote and unforgiving corners of Utah, Lucin. Lucin is not a place for the faint of heart. It is a desolate expanse where the sun beats down relentlessly and the wind howls through the endless stretch of desert, carrying with it a sense of isolation that could unsettle even the most seasoned soul. But to Dylan, this barren land was not just a challenge. It was an opportunity, a canvas on which he could paint his future. He envisioned a thriving farm where others saw only dust and hardship. The challenges Dylan faced were immense. Water was scarce, the soil was stubborn, and the sheer loneliness of the place could weigh heavily on anyone. Yet, Dylan met these obstacles with a quiet determination that defied his years. He spent long days working on the land, learning its secrets, and coaxing life from the dry earth. Every step of the way, he was building something entirely on his own, solely from his willpower. But there was something about Lucin, something intangible that clung to the air like a whisper. It was a place steeped in mystery, where the vast, empty spaces seemed to hold secrets, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. As Dylan worked tirelessly to turn his vision into a reality, he might have sensed the mystery that this land held. In the days leading up to May 28, 2022, Dylan Rounds was fully immersed in his farming efforts in this remote desert. He was last seen in Montello, Nevada, a small town about 30 miles west of his farm, where he often went to stock up on supplies. Dylan's family spoke to him regularly, and despite the isolation of his chosen life, he remained closely connected to them. However, on May 28th of 2002, communication with Dylan abruptly ceased, which was highly unusual. His family grew increasingly concerned as the hours turned into days with no word from him. Alarmed by the sudden silence, they reported him missing and began their own search, fearing the worst in such a remote and unforgiving environment. As the search for Dylan intensified, several disturbing clues began to emerge. Just days after he was reported missing, searchers discovered Dylan's boots, abandoned in a location not far from his farm. The boots were caked with mud, but more alarmingly, they were stained with blood. This discovery sent a chilling wave of fear through his family and the searchers that something had gone terribly wrong. Further deepening the mystery was the state of Dylan's pickup truck, found parked near his farm. The truck was found in an unusually clean condition, as if it had been carefully washed, yet it was out of place. The seat position also did not match Dylan's height, hinting at foul play and leaving Dylan's family and investigators grasping for any thread that could lead them to the truth. In the wake of Dylan Round's disappearance, a massive search operation was launched, involving law enforcement, volunteers, and specialized search teams. The rugged terrain of Lucin posed significant challenges, with its vast, desolate expanses that were difficult to navigate, and the extreme temperatures that only added to the difficulty. Despite these obstacles, searchers combed through the harsh landscape, covering miles of desert and remote outcroppings, hoping to find any trace of Dylan. Helicopters and drones were deployed to scan the area from above, while ground teams used all-terrain vehicles to access the most inaccessible spots. As days turned into weeks, the search efforts became a race against time, with everyone involved acutely aware of the dangers posed by this unforgiving environment. As the investigation progressed, attention increasingly turned towards a man named James Brenner, a 60-year-old who had been squatting on the property near Dylan's farm. Brenner, known to local law enforcement due to his checkered past, quickly became a person of interest. His proximity to Dylan's farm at the time of the disappearance raised suspicions, but it was the evidence that emerged during the investigation that solidified his connection to the case. One of the most damning pieces of evidence was a video discovered by investigators showing Brenner cleaning a gun. What made this footage particularly chilling was Brenner's clothes were visibly stained with blood. Further investigation revealed that the blood on his clothing matched Dylan's DNA. Combined with the fact that Brenner had been seen acting strangely in the days following Dylan's disappearance, this evidence painted a grim picture and strongly implicated Brenner in whatever had happened to Dylan. The case against him continued to build as authorities zeroed in on his involvement, leading to a significant breakthrough in the investigation. In March of 2023, after a lengthy and intense investigation, James Brenner was formally charged with second-degree felony murder in connection to the disappearance and death of Dylan Rounds. The charges came as the culmination of the mounting evidence against Brenner. Additionally, Brenner was charged with possession of a firearm by a restricted person, a serious offense given his criminal history, which prohibited him from owning or handling a firearm. These charges reflected the gravity of evidence collected against Brenner and the belief by authorities that he was directly responsible for Dylan's tragic fate. As the case moved toward trial, a significant development occurred. Brenner agreed to a plea deal in exchange for a reduction in the charges from first-degree aggravated murder to second-degree felony murder. Brenner provided crucial information that led authorities to Dylan's burial site. This breakthrough was a bittersweet moment for Dylan's family. While it confirmed their worst fears, it also brought them the closure that they desperately needed. The terms of the plea agreement were controversial. In addition to the reduction in charges, Brenner also saw the dismissal of other counts, including desecration of human remains and an unrelated aggravated assault charge. The plea deal meant that Brenner would serve a mandatory prison sentence, with the sentence for each of the 3 charges to run consecutively. But the family and the public expressed concerns that the punishment did not fully reflect the gravity of his crimes. Despite these concerns, the agreement was made with the consent of Dylan's family, who prioritized the recovery of their son's remains and the end of the legal uncertainty that had haunted them for so long. In July of 2024, James Brenner was sentenced in connection to the murder of Dylan Rounds. The court handed down a sentence of 1 to 15 years in prison for each of the 3 counts to which Brenner had pleaded guilty: second-degree felony murder and 2 counts of possession of a firearm by a restricted person. These sentences were to be served consecutively, meaning Brenner would face a minimum of 3 years prison with the possibility of up to 45 years. However, the relatively lenient sentencing range, particularly for the murder charge, left Dylan's family feeling that justice had not been fully served. They were disheartened by the fact that Brenner could potentially serve less time for taking their son's life than for the gun-related charges. This outcome prompted the family to express their frustration publicly, questioning the adequacy of the legal system in dealing with such a heinous crime. In the aftermath of the sentencing, Dylan Rounds' family channeled their grief and frustration into action. They founded a nonprofit organization called Dylan's Legacy, dedicated to supporting families of missing loved ones who are facing similar tragedies. The organization aims to provide resources, emotional support, and advocacy for those navigating the difficult journey of finding their missing relatives and seeking justice. In addition to their support work, Dylan's family became vocal advocates for legislative change. They began pushing for stricter penalties for crimes involving murder and the desecration of human remains, arguing that the current legal framework allowed for far too much leniency, like in Dylan's case. Their efforts seek to ensure that no other family has to endure the pain of seeing their loved one's killer receive what they believe to be an inadequate sentence. Through Dylan's Legacy, they hope to make a lasting impact, both in supporting other families and in shaping laws that better reflect the seriousness of the crimes. The case of Dylan Rounds is a tragic reminder of how quickly dreams can turn into nightmares. What began as a young man's pursuit of life connected to the land ended in a devastating loss that forever changed his family. The emotional toll on Dylan's loved ones have been profound. They've navigated the painful journey from hope to heartbreak and ultimately to a bittersweet form of closure. The search for Dylan, the investigation that followed, and the legal proceedings against James Brenner have highlighted significant challenges in the pursuit of justice, particularly in cases involving missing people in remote areas. The gaps in the legal system, as revealed by this case, underscore the need for ongoing reform to ensure that justice is adequately served. As we reflect on Dylan's story, it's clear that there is still much work to be done to support families who face the nightmare of a missing loved one. Dylan's Legacy, the nonprofit founded by his family, is a powerful step in that direction. I encourage you to support their efforts, whether through donations or shopping their Etsy store that can be found on their website at dylanroundslegacy.org, or simply staying informed and sharing the word of similar cases. Together, we can help ensure that the voices of the missing are heard and that their families receive the support and justice that they deserve. Yellowstone National Park is a land of extremes, breathtaking beauty, and harsh, unforgiving wilderness. Spanning over 2 million acres, it is home to towering peaks, vast backcountry, and weather that can shift from calm to deadly in minutes. For those who explore its remote corners, Yellowstone offers both wonder and danger, a balance that can turn in an instant. Rising high above this rugged landscape is Eagle Peak, the park's tallest and most challenging summit. Standing at 11,372 feet, it is a place few dare to climb, where isolation and treacherous terrain push even the most experienced adventurers to their limits. On September 17th of 2024, 22-year-old Austin King reached Eagle Peak's summit. Alone, cold, and exhausted, he stood triumphantly where so few had stood before him. The journey had been brutal, freezing winds, relentless sleet, and fog so thick he could barely see. His fingers were numb, his glasses fogged, but the magnitude of his achievement wasn't lost on him. He took a moment to write in the summit's register, leaving behind words that now echo with haunting significance. I can't feel my fingers. Life is beautiful. Go out and live it. Despite the struggle, Austin's words were filled with life and pride, a reflection of his adventurous spirit. He also tried to call friends and family from the peak. His voice trembled with strain when he spoke to his mother, and though he didn't say it outright, something felt wrong. His father missed a call and later discovered a voicemail he didn't receive until a week later. It was the last time anyone would hear from Austin King. 3 days later, when he failed to show up for a scheduled boat pickup at Yellowstone Lake's southeast arm, alarms went off. Austin had a plan, but something had stopped him from following it. Search and rescue teams soon descended upon the area, launching a massive operation. They found his campsite, eerily untouched. His tent, sleeping pad, and food bag were still there. But there was no sign of Austin, no backpack, no gear, no trail leading away. Austin's triumphant climb to Eagle Peak had turned into something far more ominous. He had reached the top, a moment of victory, yet he vanished without a trace on his way back. What happened to Austin King after that fateful day? How could someone disappear so completely in a place both seen and unseen, where the wilderness holds the secrets tightly? This is the story of Austin King, a young adventurer whose great achievements became the start of a mystery that Yellowstone has yet to reveal. Austin King was a 22-year-old adventurer with a passion for the outdoors. He was the kind of person who found comfort in places others might find harsh and unforgiving. Rugged trails, remote wilderness, and backcountry challenges. Friends and family described him as determined, full of energy, and always eager to push the limits. Standing 6 feet tall and weighing 160 pounds, Austin had brown hair, hazel eyes, and wore glasses. His tattoos were a personal mark of his unique character, someone unafraid to live boldly and chase experiences that most would shy away from. In the summer of 2024, Austin took a job as a concession worker at Yellowstone National Park, immersing himself in the beauty of one of America's most iconic landscapes. But he wasn't content with just working there. He wanted to truly experience it. When the summer season ended, Austin set his sights on a challenge few would consider: climbing Eagle Peak, the tallest summit in Yellowstone, and camping alone in the remote southeast section of the park. For Austin, this wasn't just another trip. It was a test of his strength, skill, and spirit. It was the kind of adventure that defined him, a chance to step into the wild and prove to himself what he was capable of. But as he ventured deeper into the wilderness, that daring journey turned into something no one could have predicted. On September 14th, 2024, Austin King began his solo journey toward Eagle Peak, Yellowstone's tallest and most imposing summit. It was the start of a challenging backcountry hike, one that would take him deep into the remote and unforgiving terrain. Along the way, Austin kept in touch with his family and friends, sharing updates as he pushed forward. He seemed determined, confident, and excited to reach his goal. By September 17th, Austin stood at the top of Eagle Peak. He had made it, but the climb had taken a toll. The weather had turned brutal. Thick fog choked the air. Visibility was poor, and freezing rain, sleet, and howling winds battered the summit. Austin described the ordeal in a note he left at the summit register. "I can't feel my fingers. Life is beautiful. Go out and live it." The words were triumphant but unsettling, as if the climb had pushed him further than he expected. Austin tried to reach out to loved ones. He managed to connect with his mother, though his voice carried an edge of unease. Something wasn't right. He described the weather and his situation, and while he didn't say it outright, his tone hinted at trouble. His father missed a call that day, a message that he wouldn't hear until it was too late. Despite the conditions, Austin told his family he planned to descend the mountain and head for Yellowstone Lake's southeast arm, where he was scheduled to meet a boat on September 20th. This was the last time anyone heard from Austin King. After his summit run, he vanished without a trace, leaving behind only his haunting words and a trail of unanswered questions. On September 20th of 2024, Austin King failed to arrive for his scheduled boat pickup at Yellowstone Lake's southeast arm. His absence was immediate cause for concern. Austin was known for his adventurous spirit, but he was also reliable. He had a plan, and he didn't follow it. By September 21st, search and rescue teams launched an extensive operation. The effort quickly grew into a massive undertaking, with 90 personnel, helicopters, drones, search dogs, and ground crews combing the unforgiving landscape. Spotters scanned from above while trackers and rescue teams navigated the rugged trails below, working tirelessly to find any trace of Austin. The first breakthrough came when searchers located Austin's campsite at Upper Howell Creek, about a half-day's hike from the base of Eagle Peak. It was an eerie discovery. His food bag, tent, and sleeping pad were all there, undisturbed, as if he had simply just stepped away. But there was no sign of Austin himself. Missing were his backpack and sleeping bag, two critical items that could have offered clues to his movements. The search faced brutal challenges almost immediately. Heavy snowstorms swept across the area, and rescuers encountered 6-foot snowdrifts that made travel nearly impossible. The weather turned the already difficult terrain into a treacherous maze of ice, cliffs, and obscured trails. Despite their determination, search teams were forced to scale back their efforts as the storms raged on, leaving behind more questions than answers. How could someone so prepared vanish so completely? Why was his gear left behind? And where did he go after leaving the campsite? The mystery of Austin King deepened with every passing day. Austin's father, Brian King, refused to let his son's disappearance become just another unsolved mystery. Determined to uncover the truth, he traveled to Wyoming to launch his own search efforts, setting up a base camp at Eagle Creek Trailhead in the remote national forest, not far from where Austin had last been seen. Brian enlisted the help of experienced volunteers, including searchers from Montana who were no strangers to rugged backcountry rescues. These individuals, driven by compassion and expertise, backpacked into the harsh terrain, scaling peaks and combing valleys for any sign of Austin. Here is an actual clip of the search effort.
All right, this is Roger Roots. I am on Eagle Peak, searching for missing hiker Austin King. This is day 2 of my search. I've been up here parts of 3 days. Very, very vast terrain, very rugged terrain. I can see a helicopter down there. Probably belongs to National Park Service, but I don't know. I don't know if you can see it. I'm zooming in. So a helicopter has been flying around this morning, not yesterday, but just today, Sunday. And it looks like he might even be dropping off climbers or hikers, searchers, not sure. But dropping them off and picking them up. This side, by the way, this side of the mountain is the the east side of the mountain. It looks like he's taking off now. Let's see if we can see where he's going. As far as I know, I'm the only hiker up here. I'm the only searcher up here as far as I know. I haven't been in touch with anyone for 2 days, so I don't know. I know John Lamb and, let's see. Oh, there he is. I know John Lamb and Brian King, the boy's father, are at the trailhead. They both have bad knees. They have broken knees, so they can't really hike. Otherwise, they'd be right up here with me, in case anybody's wondering. But anyway, we are on a mountain called, this is called Eagle Peak, and it's the highest mountain in Yellowstone National Park. And as you can see, it's very rugged. I'm just below the summit. I'm wandering around. I'm probably in about the area where Austin King would have come. I don't know whether he returned this way. I'm looking in every cranny, every creek cave, anything I can find. In fact, I'm looking for anything, even a, shoestring or a pair of glasses or anything. And I know there has been searches. There's that helicopter again flying around. Let's see if I can zoom in on him. I've lost him. Anyway, you can see how vast it is here. It's just so vast. And I'm looking to the east toward Cody. Now the campsite where John and Brian are is 14 or 15 miles that direction. And I had to come all the way. There is a meadow down there. There was talk of having a horse camp down there. That's still about 5 miles from where I am. So it's very rugged and it's extremely vast. Now let me just show you a little bit on the western side. The western side of the mountain. Now Yellowstone Lake is over there. Yellowstone National Park is over there. In fact, right now as I stand here, I am on the boundary between the Wyoming and Yellowstone National Park, right on the boundary. Probably, this is the boundary, probably right here. It runs along this ridge line. So we basically the boat rides that dropped Austin off on Yellowstone Lake, those have ceased. And this park's about to close for the winter, ironically. It's been some great weather, but the boat rides have stopped. So the closest drive to get here is 14 miles that away, and that's where we've got the campsite set up. Very vast terrain. This poor guy picked the absolute most remote place in America to go missing. So stay tuned.
The family's efforts, however, were met with obstacles. Brian planned helicopter flights to drop searchers near key areas where they suspected Austin might have descended. But the National Park Service, citing safety concerns and strict regulations, denied the flights, adding to the family's frustrations. Meanwhile, snowfall continued to complicate their efforts. Heavy snowstorms blanketed the area, turning already treacherous grounds into white, featureless expanses. Snowdrifts grew, temperatures dropped, and the search became increasingly dangerous. Still, Brian's determination remained unshaken. He acknowledged the reality of the winter's arrival, but vowed to press on. If the snow forced the search to pause, he promised to return in spring or summer of 2025 when conditions would allow for a renewed effort. "We're going to have our army," he said with conviction. "We're going to find him." The search for Austin King had become more than a mission. It was a father's relentless pursuit to bring his son home, no matter how long it would take. The disappearance of Austin King has left behind more questions than answers, and as search efforts continue, several theories attempt to explain what might have happened to him. Austin's note from the summit of Eagle Peak described extreme conditions, freezing winds, thick fog, sleet, and hail that battered him relentlessly. At over 11,000 feet, the elements are unforgiving. It's possible that hypothermia set in as he began his descent. The cold could have impaired his judgment and motor skills, leading him off the safe path and onto a dangerous one. Once hypothermia takes hold, confusion and disorientation are common, and even a minor misstep can become deadly in such treacherous terrain. Eagle Peak is no ordinary climb. Its cliffs, jagged rock faces, and steep drop-offs pose a constant risk, especially for someone battling exhaustion and harsh weather. Searchers believe it's possible that Austin lost his footing and fell into a ravine or crevasse, areas that are notoriously hard to search. If this happened, his body and any trace of him could be hidden beneath the rock, snow, or dense forest, making him nearly impossible to spot from the ground or the air. Austin's abandoned campsite adds to the mystery. His tent, food bag, and sleeping pad were found, untouched, but two critical survival items were missing, his backpack and his sleeping bag. These items might hold the key to his route or mindset. Was he in a hurry? Did he take them when he tried to leave the site, or did something unexpected happen? The absence of these items raises more questions than answers and leaves an unsettling gap in the story. Despite an extensive search involving helicopters, drones, search dogs, and ground teams, no trace of Austin has been found beyond this campsite. Not his gear, not his clothing, not even the faintest sign of where he might have gone. One experienced searcher put it bluntly. "That's the strange part. We usually find something," he said. In such a vast wilderness, it's easy for someone to disappear, but the complete lack of clues is hard to explain. Did the weather erase his tracks? Did he fall somewhere unreachable? Or is there another explanation that no one has even considered? Each theory holds pieces of the truth, but none provide a complete answer. What happened to Austin King on that cold, foggy descent from Eagle Peak remains one of Yellowstone's most unsettling and unsolvable mysteries. The disappearance of Austin King remains an open wound, a mystery without closure. Despite an exhaustive search, the harsh realities of Yellowstone's backcountry have forced efforts to scale back. Heavy snow and freezing conditions turn the rugged terrain into an impenetrable barrier, leaving rescuers with no choice but to transition to a recovery mission. For now, the wilderness still holds its secrets, but Austin's family refuses to give up. His father, Brian, has vowed to return once the snow melts in the spring or summer of 2025, alongside volunteers and experienced searchers. He plans to reignite the search, stronger and more determined than ever. Lingering questions continue to haunt those who have followed Austin's story. Why was nothing found? Searchers located his tent and food, but no trace of himself. No backpack, sleeping bag, and no clues to explain his disappearance. What really happened as Austin descended from Eagle Peak? Did the weather overwhelm him? Did he fall? Or did something far more sinister or unexpected occur? The unknown is the hardest part, but Brian's resolve has not wavered. He faces each day with the same commitment, saying, "Tomorrow is another day closer to bringing my boy home." For now, the answers remain buried beneath the snow and stone of Yellowstone's wilderness. But Austin's family, driven by love and determination, will not stop until they uncover the truth. The mountains may hold their secrets close, but the search for Austin King is far from over. The story of Austin King is a reminder of the unforgiving nature of the wilderness. Solo backcountry hiking demands not just skill and preparation, but also an understanding that nature's beauty is matched by its risks. Yellowstone's vast, rugged landscapes, where the weather can turn deadly in moments, do not forgive even the smallest mistake. The mountains of Yellowstone hold their secrets well. His family's resolve and the mystery of his disappearance will endure until the wilderness finally reveals the truth of Austin King. Imagine a world where the strange and unexplained are not only real, but closely monitored by shadowy figures who work tirelessly to keep these secrets hidden. Welcome to the mysterious world of the Men in Black, an organization shrouded in mystery and fear, known for their unsettling visits to those who've seen too much. In this video, we'll delve into the Men in Black, exploring their connections to UFO sightings, unexplained phenomena, and their ominous role in silencing witnesses who dare to speak out. On the night of November 22nd, 1966, the Christensen family was driving down a freeway when they noticed an unusual, bright light in the sky. As the light descended rapidly, the family initially feared that it might be a plane crash. However, as they drove over a hill, they saw the light had stopped just above the tree line, hovering silently in the air. Curiosity turned to dread as the light moved deliberately toward the family, lowering in altitude until it hovered directly above them. The family, struck by an overwhelming sense of evil, was paralyzed with fear. The strange light evoked a deep emotional reaction, particularly in the mother, Arlene, and her sister, Gwendolyn, who both broke down in hysteria on the side of the road. Even the children were overcome with terror, crying uncontrollably as the silent, menacing orb lingered directly above. After this unsettling encounter, the Christensen family moved to a new house. They had only recently settled in when, on January 9th of 1967, a loud knock echoed from the front door. Arlene sent her daughter Connie to see who it was, but she found out this was no ordinary visitor. A tall, strange-looking man stood on their porch, asking for Mr. Edward Christensen. What alarmed Arlene most was that the man knew their new, unlisted address, a detail that was impossible for a stranger to know. The man was unusually tall, about 7 feet, with an unnaturally pale complexion. His broad shoulders made him appear almost inhuman in size. His attire was equally odd, a thin, black trench coat that seemed out of place for the cold weather, and a fur hat that obscured much of his face. But the most bizarre detail was the green wire protruding from one of his socks, vanishing into his leg as if it were integrated within his flesh. The interaction with the man was unsettling. He spoke in a monotone voice, using short, clipped sentences that felt rehearsed. Despite his claim that he was from the Missing Heirs Bureau, the family felt something was deeply wrong. The man's demeanor was emotionless, his presence cold and mechanical. After exactly 42 minutes, down to the second, he abruptly left, leaving the family in a state of confusion and fear. This encounter with the mysterious man in black fits disturbingly well within the broader narrative of the Men in Black. The stranger's unnatural appearance, his knowledge of private details, and his unsettling behavior all suggest that he was no ordinary visitor. This raises the chilling possibility that the Men in Black might be something far more ominous than mere government agents, possibly even otherworldly beings with unknown intentions. Paul Sinclair is an investigator and author who has spent his life surrounded by the paranormal. From an early age, Sinclair exhibited a heightened sensitivity to otherworldly activities, experiencing encounters that most would find unimaginable. This sensitivity, coupled with his insatiable curiosity, has driven him to delve deeply into the mysteries of the unknown. Sinclair's experiences began as a child, with strange, shadowy figures he calls night people appearing in his bedroom. These beings, often lurking near his bed, seemed to watch him silently. Their presence was both terrifying and puzzling, leaving a lasting impression on young Sinclair. These early encounters were the foundation of his lifelong fascination with the paranormal. On New Year's Eve, 1971, an eerie event unfolded that would cement Sinclair's belief in the existence of night people. While returning home with his family after a night of celebration, they encountered two strange beings standing in a field near their home. These figures matched the description of the night people from Sinclair's childhood, with their dark, elongated bodies and unsettling presence. The fear and confusion experienced by his entire family confirmed to Sinclair that these entities were real and not just figments of his imagination. Throughout his life, Sinclair continued to encounter the night people and other unexplained phenomena. These experiences only deepened his curiosity and pushed him to seek answers. As he grew older, Sinclair began to actively investigate these occurrences, documenting his encounters and gathering evidence in an attempt to understand what was happening to him and others who had similar experiences. In 2002, Sinclair's investigations took a dark turn when he was approached by two strange individuals. These beings, who communicated to each other in a series of clicks and ticks, warned him to stop his investigation into the night people and other paranormal activities. The threat was clear. If he continued his pursuit of the truth, he may face dire consequences, possibly even death. Despite the warnings, Sinclair's resolve only grew stronger. The encounters he experienced throughout his life shaped him into a relentless seeker of truth, driven by a need to uncover the mysteries that had haunted him since childhood. Sinclair's story is one of perseverance in the face of the unknown as he continues to explore the boundaries of our understanding of the paranormal world. The Men in Black emerged as part of UFO folklore during the 1940s and 50s, linked to early UFO sightings and mysterious encounters. These mysterious figures are often described as government agents who appear unannounced to silence witnesses and suppress information about extraterrestrial events. One of the earliest recorded incidents involving the Men in Black occurred in 1947, when Harold Dahl witnessed strange flying objects near Maury Island, Washington. After reporting his sighting, Dahl was visited by a man in a black suit who knew detailed information about the encounter and warned him to keep silent. This event is considered one of the foundational stories of the Men in Black legend. Albert Bender, a prominent UFO researcher, founded the International Flying Saucer Bureau in 1952. However, his research came to an abrupt halt after he was visited by three men in dark suits who allegedly intimidated him into silence. Bender later described these encounters in his book, Flying Saucers and the Three Men, which contributed to the growing mythology surrounding the Men in Black. Gary Barker, a close associate of Bender, played a crucial role in popularizing the Men in Black through his 1956 book, They Know Too Much About Flying Saucers. Baker's accounts of mysterious agents who harassed and threatened UFO witnesses helped cement the Men in Black as a central figure in UFO lore. During the Mothman sightings in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, several witnesses reported visits from Men in Black who warned them not to speak about what they had seen. These encounters further solidified the Men in Black as ominous figures tied to paranormal events. Dr. Herbert Hopkins, a Maine-based physician, was studying a UFO case when he received a visit from a man in black who displayed strange physical traits, including a featureless face and a robotic demeanor. The visitor pressured Hopkins to destroy all evidence related to his research, a chilling encounter that remains one of the most detailed Men in Black reports. The Men in Black share striking similarities with older folklore about demonic entities. Just as stories of the devil often involve dark, mysterious figures who appear at crucial moments to enforce silence or fear, the Men in Black seem to be a modern embodiment of these ancient fears, bridging the gap between UFO paranormal folklore and contemporary UFO mythology. One prevalent theory suggests that the Men in Black are government operatives from agencies like the CIA or NSA, specifically tasked with suppressing public knowledge of UFOs and other unexplained phenomena. These figures are believed to use intimidation and secrecy to maintain control over potentially disruptive information. Another interpretation could state that the Men in Black might not be human at all. Instead, they could be extraterrestrial or interdimensional beings with their own hidden agendas. Their strange behaviors, unnatural appearances, and seemingly otherworldly knowledge fuel this theory. The Men in Black could also be part of a psychological operation or psyops orchestrated by the government or other entities. These operations might be designed to confuse, mislead, or discredit individuals who come too close to uncovering classified information or hidden truths and agendas. Over the decades, the Men in Black have become iconic figures in pop culture, depicted in movies, TV shows, and books as mysterious agents or even heroic figures. This portrayal has significantly shaped public perception, blending myth and reality in the popular imagination. Skeptics argue that stories about the Men in Black can often be attributed to hoaxes, psychological phenomena, or deliberate misinformation campaigns by the government. These explanations aim to debunk the more outlandish claims, suggesting that the Men in Black might be more of a cultural phenomenon than a real, sinister force. Verifying Men in Black encounters is inherently difficult due to the lack of physical evidence and the reliance on subjective witness testimonies. These experiences are often personal and terrifying, yet they leave no tangible proof. The elusive nature of the Men in Black, appearing and disappearing without a trace, adds to the challenge of proving their existence. This has led to a wide range of interpretations, from outright skepticism to belief in their supernatural origins. Men in Black stories share common themes across different cultures and time periods, including mysterious visitors who intimidate or silence witnesses of the paranormal. Similar entities appear in folklore around the world, such as the Black Man of European witchcraft lore or the shadowy figures in Native American legends. These similarities suggest that Men in Black could be a modern manifestation of ancient lore, reflecting deep-seated fears of the unknown and the unseen forces that govern our mysterious world. The true identity and purpose of the Men in Black remain shrouded in mystery. Are they government agents, extraterrestrial beings, or something else entirely? What is their ultimate goal, and why do they target specific witnesses? These questions continue to fuel speculation and debate, leaving more questions than answers. The enduring story of the Men in Black reminds us of the vast unknowns in our world. Their stories challenge our understanding of reality, urging us to question what we know about the paranormal and the forces that shape our experiences. If you're intrigued by mysteries like the Men in Black, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into unsolved phenomena. Share your thoughts or any experiences you may have had in the comments, and stay tuned for future videos exploring more mysteries and the unknown.
On July 25th of 2020, Richard Judd, a 72-year-old experienced hiker, embarked on what he thought would be a straightforward day hike near Hetch Hetchy Reserve in Yosemite National Park. Richard was an outdoorsman through and through, someone who felt at home in the wilderness. The trails of Yosemite were familiar to him, and he had taken similar hikes many times before. With clear skies and no signs of trouble, there was no reason to think this hike would be any different. But as the hours passed and Richard didn't return to his starting point, concern began to grow. His wife reported him missing, setting into motion a massive search effort. Despite his experience and knowledge of the area, Richard had vanished without a trace, leaving behind no immediate clues about what might have gone wrong. The circumstances of his disappearance raised unsettling questions. How could someone so seasoned in hiking and so familiar with the area simply just disappear? Did he stray away from the trail? Was there an accident? Or did something else entirely happen? These questions lingered as search teams combed the rugged terrain, trying to piece together the events of that fateful day. Even now, Richard Judd's last hike is surrounded by an air of mystery, leaving behind a story that refuses to reveal its secrets. On the morning of July 25th, 2020, Richard Judd laced up his boots and prepared for a day in the heart of Yosemite National Park. His chosen route was the Hetch Hetchy Reservoir Trail, a stunning yet rugged area of the park known for its steep inclines, dense forests, and sweeping views. His goal was to complete a loop that included Smith's Peak, a prominent landmark offering panoramic vistas of the surrounding wilderness. For Richard, who had spent years exploring the outdoors, this trek seemed like another manageable challenge. The day began with ideal hiking conditions. The sky was clear, the weather mild, and the terrain, though demanding, was familiar to him. Richard had planned well and carried the necessary supplies for what he expected to be a rewarding day on the trail. It was the kind of day many hikers dream of, a chance to connect with nature, test their endurance, and enjoy the solitude of Yosemite's remote trails. At some point during his journey, another hiker encountered Richard along the trail. He appeared calm and focused, moving with purpose as he navigated the rugged path. There were no signs of distress, no indication that anything was amiss. It was a brief exchange, the kind that happens often on wilderness trails, but it would later prove to be a crucial piece of the puzzle. This was the last confirmed sighting of Richard Judd. After this moment, Richard's presence on the trail vanished as completely as if the wilderness had swallowed him whole. He didn't appear at any known waypoints, and no further witnesses came forward to report seeing him. As the day wore on and Richard failed to return, concern grew, setting off a chain of events that would lead to one of Yosemite's most perplexing disappearances. When Richard Judd failed to return from his hike on the evening of July 25th, 2020, concern quickly turned into alarm. Yosemite National Park authorities wasted no time in launching a search and rescue operation, understanding the urgency of finding someone in this vast and unforgiving wilderness. The response was swift and extensive. Over 100 searchers, including park rangers, volunteers, and specialized search and rescue teams, scoured the area. Search dogs were deployed to pick up Richard's scent, while aerial drones and helicopters provided a bird's-eye view of the rugged terrain. Ground teams focused on the trails, ravines, and possible off-trail areas where he might have strayed. The search area posed immediate challenges. The steep and rocky slopes around Hetch Hetchy Reservoir, combined with dense forests and thick underbrush, made progress slow and dangerous. Even with advanced equipment, visibility was limited, and the sheer scale of Yosemite's wilderness added to the difficulty. Searchers worked tirelessly, but the harsh terrain seemed to resist their every effort, as if guarding its secrets tightly. Despite the comprehensive operation, days passed without any sign of Richard, leaving everyone involved to wonder what had gone so terribly wrong. On July 29th of 2020, after 4 days of intense searching, the tragic conclusion to Richard Judd's disappearance was uncovered. His body was found about a half-mile off the marked trail in a steep and remote area near Smith Peak. It was a rugged section of the wilderness, far from where he was expected to be, adding another layer of mystery to the case. Searchers speculated about how Richard might have ended up in such a challenging location. Had he become disoriented and wandered off the trail, drawn by something unseen? Or perhaps fatigue or a misstep led him to lose his footing on the unforgiving terrain. The area's sharp inclines and loose rocks make even the slightest mistake potentially fatal. The official cause of death was consistent with a fall, and investigators ruled it accidental. While the discovery brought some closure to his family, it left behind haunting questions. Why had an experienced hiker strayed so far from his planned route? And what were those final moments like in the shadowy depths of Yosemite's wilderness? The answers remain lost and guarded. The discovery of Richard Judd's body answered the question of where he had gone, but left so many others shrouded in mystery. Why did he leave the trail, venturing into such a remote and treacherous area? Did he see something that drew him off course, or was he searching for a shortcut that led him deeper into danger? The reasons behind his fateful decisions remain unknown, locked away in the silence of Yosemite's wilderness. Could anything have been done to prevent this tragedy? Richard was an experienced hiker, well-versed in navigating the outdoors, and the conditions that day were favorable. Yet, even seasoned adventurers can face unpredictable moments where one misstep or a brief lapse in judgment can turn a routine hike into a life-threatening situation. The unforgiving nature of Yosemite's terrain often provides little margin for error. Richard Judd's case serves as a reminder of the risks that come with exploring the wilderness. Even the most experienced hikers are not immune to the dangers of disorientation, fatigue, or unexpected accidents. His story underscores the importance of preparation, vigilance, and respect for the power of nature, a lesson that resonates with all who venture into the unknown. Yet, the The lingering mystery of what truly happened to Richard continues to haunt the trails he once walked, leaving behind a legacy of caution and unanswered questions. First and foremost, always stay on the marked trails. Trails are designed to give hikers safety through the terrain and reduce the risks of disorientation or accidents. Straying away from them can lead to dangerous and unfamiliar territory, as the wilderness can quickly become disorienting, even for the most seasoned of adventurers. Carrying the right supplies is equally critical. A GPS device or map, a fully charged phone or personal locator beacon, and emergency gear such as a whistle, flashlight, and first aid kit can make all the difference in a survival situation. Adequate water, food, and weather-appropriate clothing are essential for dealing with unexpected delays or challenges. Finally, always inform someone of your plans. Let a trusted person know your intended route, destination, and expected return time. This simple step ensures that help can be mobilized quickly if something goes wrong. The wilderness is both beautiful and unforgiving. By following these precautions, hikers can reduce their risks and honor the lessons learned from Richard Judd's story, ensuring that their adventures remain as safe as they are memorable. Richard Judd's disappearance is both tragic and deeply mysterious. A seasoned hiker, familiar with the challenges of the wilderness, he set out on what should have been a routine hike, but never returned. The discovery of his body, far from the trail, answered some questions, but left others unanswered. Why did he veer off course? What happened in those final moments? These are the mysteries only the vast, untamed wilderness of Yosemite truly knows. Richard's story serves as a reminder of the thin line between adventure and danger in the natural world. The wilderness is breathtaking, but it also is unpredictable. A place where even the most prepared can face unforeseen challenges. As we reflect on Richard's journey, one truth remains. The wilderness of Yosemite holds its secrets closely, reminding us that nature's beauty and peril go hand in hand.
In January of 1943, the brilliant inventor Nikola Tesla was found lifeless in his hotel room at the New Yorker Hotel. Tesla, a man whose mind had illuminated the world with revolutionary ideas, had spent his final years in relative obscurity, yet he remained a figure of immense intrigue. His death, like his life, was shrouded in mystery. But what happened next would ignite a firestorm of speculation and conspiracy theories that persist to this day. As the news of Tesla's passing spread, the U.S. government swiftly moved in, seizing all of his personal belongings and documents. Among these were rumored to be plans for a device so powerful it could bring nations to their knees, a weapon Tesla himself called the Death Ray. Tesla claimed this invention could end all wars, a machine capable of unimaginable destruction, yet he never revealed its full design. The government's actions raised more questions than answers. Why were they so quick to confiscate his papers? What secrets lay hidden within those pages? And perhaps most puzzling of all, why did some of Tesla's files vanish without a trace? Nikola Tesla, a name synonymous with innovation, was a man whose contributions to science forever changed the world. His work on alternating current, or AC electricity, laid the foundation for the modern power grid, enabling electricity to be transmitted over long distances. Tesla's ingenuity didn't stop there. He pioneered the development of radio waves, creating the basis for modern communication. His experiments with wireless technology were way ahead of their time, envisioning a world connected without wires, a vision that would only be realized decades later. But despite these monumental achievements, Tesla's later years were marked by a tragic decline. Once celebrated as a genius, he fell into relative obscurity with his finances in ruin. He moved into the New Yorker Hotel, where he lived in near seclusion, feeding pigeons and continuing to work on his ideas, many of which were increasingly speculative. Among these ideas was one that has since become the stuff of legend: the Death Ray. Tesla claimed to have developed a weapon of unparalleled power, a particle beam capable of destroying entire armies from a distance. He believed this invention could end all wars by making any attack by any nation futile. But Tesla never revealed the full details of this invention, fueling speculation and concern. In his later years, and as his health deteriorated and his financial situation worsened, Tesla became an even more mysterious figure. His claims of groundbreaking inventions, combined with his reclusive lifestyle, attracted the attention of powerful interests. Some saw him as a mad scientist, others as a visionary whose work was too dangerous to be understood by the world. The question that still lingers is how much of Tesla's later work was real, and how much was the product of a mind that had slipped into the realm of fantasy. On the cold morning of January 7th, 1943, the world lost one of its greatest minds under mysterious circumstances. Nikola Tesla, once a titan of innovation, was discovered lifeless in his room at the New Yorker. The room, small and modest, was in contrast to the grandeur of his earlier life. The brilliant inventor had retreated into solitude in his later years, leaving behind a trail of curious mysteries and unfulfilled promises. Tesla's body was found by a maid who had grown concerned after noticing he had not emerged from his room for 2 days. Upon entering, she was met with the unsettling silence of a man whose mind had once crackled with boundless energy. There were no signs of a struggle, no indications of foul play, just the stillness of a life quietly extinguished. But what followed his death was far from quiet. News of Tesla's passing reached the U.S. government almost immediately, and it came with a swift and decisive response. Unknown and unidentified government agents acted with unprecedented speed. Within hours, the agents were at the New Yorker hotel, and Tesla's room became the focal point of a high-stakes operation. The agents moved quickly, confiscating every scrap of paper, every notebook, and every personal item in Tesla's possession. They were particularly interested in his technical documents, notes, and diagrams that Tesla had guarded closely in his final years. Among the seized items were rumored plans for a device Tesla had ominously referred to as the Death Ray, a weapon so powerful it could potentially change the course of history or end the world altogether. As the government agents loaded trunks of Tesla's belongings into waiting vehicles, a shroud of secrecy descended. The exact contents of the documents and the true nature of Tesla's final work became a matter of intense speculation. What knowledge had Tesla taken with him to the grave, and what did the government hope to find or hide in the papers that they seized on that fateful day? The answers remain elusive, buried deep within the classified files and the corridors of power. Tesla's death, much like his life, left behind more questions than answers, and the mysteries surrounding the final chapter of his story continue to haunt the curious, like you, to this day. In the aftermath of his death, the government sought an expert who could swiftly and thoroughly evaluate the trove of documents seized from the inventor's hotel room. That expert was Dr. John G. Trump, a distinguished professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and a leading authority in high-voltage engineering. Dr. Trump, known for his pioneering work in X-ray technology and his contributions to radar research during World War II, was a logical choice for such a critical task. However, there was another detail that would later capture the public's attention. John G. Trump was the uncle of Donald J. Trump, the future 45th President of the United States. Dr. Trump's assignment was straightforward. He was to examine Tesla's papers and determine if they contained any technologies or ideas that could be of significant value to the government, or more ominously, whether or not they posed a potential threat if they fell into the wrong hands. The agents, wary of Tesla's claims about a death ray and other advanced technologies, needed a clear and decisive answer. After meticulously reviewing the documents, Dr. Trump concluded that Tesla's later work was largely speculative, describing it as more philosophical than practical. In his report, he noted that while Tesla's papers were intriguing, they did not offer any new, workable principles or methods that could be immediately applied. According to Trump, the legendary death ray appeared to be more of a product of Tesla's imagination than a viable scientific breakthrough. Yet, not everyone was convinced by Trump's assessment. Within the military, there were those who believed Tesla's ideas had untapped potential, particularly in the context of the ongoing war. These officials viewed Tesla not as a dreamer, but a visionary whose work was simply just ahead of its time. Brigadier General L.C. Craigie, a decorated pilot and military innovator, was among those who thought Tesla's concepts deserved further exploration. This divergence in opinion created an air of uncertainty that fueled speculation about what Tesla's papers might truly contain. The contrast between Dr. Trump's dismissive report and the lingering interest from some military officials only deepened the mystery. Was Tesla a genius, misunderstood by even the best minds of his day, or had his age and isolation led him to chase unattainable fantasies? The true nature of Tesla's final work and the significance of the documents he left behind remains a puzzle, one that continues to intrigue and mystify historians and scientists alike. After Tesla's death, the FBI meticulously cataloged 80 trunks filled with his personal belongings, notes, and inventions. These trunks represented the life's work of a man whose genius had both illuminated and mystified the world. However, when Tesla's estate was eventually sent to his homeland in Serbia, only 60 of those trunks arrived. The mysterious disappearance of the remaining 20 trunks has fueled speculation and conspiracy theories for decades. What happened to those missing trunks? Were they lost in transit, or did they contain something so valuable, so dangerous, that they were deliberately withheld by the government? Among the missing items, it is believed, could have been the plans for Tesla's rumored death ray, a weapon of such devastating potential that it could have altered the balance of power during World War II and for future generations. The disappearance of these trunks raises more questions than it answers. If they were indeed seized by or hidden by the US government, what was their true contents? Could they have contained blueprints, inventions, or research so advanced that it needed to be suppressed? Or did those trunks simply vanish into the bureaucratic ether, their contents lost to history? Conspiracy theories abound, with some suggesting that the US government kept the most sensitive of Tesla's work for their own use, perhaps integrating his ideas into secret military projects. The declassified FBI documents, released decades later, only add to the intrigue. While some files were made public, others remained classified, further fueling suspicions that Tesla's work might still be influencing modern technology in ways the public will never fully understand. The notion that Tesla's most groundbreaking inventions could still be hidden away, locked in a government vault, or repurposed under top-secret projects keeps the mystery alive. Did Tesla's genius truly extend into the realms that even today's science has yet to fully grasp? And if so, what happened to those elusive 20 trunks? And what secrets do they still hold? The absence of answers only deepens the mystery surrounding Tesla's life's work, leaving us to wonder about the true extent of his legacy. Nikola Tesla's ideas continue to resonate through the corridors of modern technology, science, and even pop culture. His pioneering work laid the foundation for many of the technologies that define our world today. Tesla's vision of wireless communication, once deemed a fantasy, is now a reality that powers everything from smartphones to global communication systems. His early experiments with radio waves and electromagnetic fields paved the way for wireless technologies that have become so integral in our daily lives. Without Tesla, the seamless connection we now all take for granted might have remained a distant dream. Tesla's influence extends beyond communication. His work on remote control and robotics was far ahead of its time, laying the groundwork for the automated systems and robotics that now revolutionize industries worldwide. He envisioned a future where machines could be controlled from a distance, an idea that seemed like science fiction in his era, but is now a cornerstone of modern military and civilian technology. One of the most intriguing aspects of Tesla's legacy is his impact on military research. Tesla's concept of a death ray may have been dismissed by some, but it inspired future generations of military scientists. Ronald Reagan's Strategic Defense Initiative, often referred to as Star Wars, was heavily influenced by Tesla's idea about directed energy weapons and particle beams. Although the initiative never fully materialized, the echoes of Tesla's work can be found in today's research on advanced defense technologies. Beyond his tangible contributions to science and technology, Tesla's legacy is also one of mystery and intrigue. He is remembered not just as a brilliant inventor, but as a man whose ideas often seem to straddle the line between genius and madness. His life has inspired countless books, films, and conspiracy theories, each attempting to unravel the complexities of his mind and the mysteries of his inventions. Tesla's cultural impact is profound. He has become a symbol of the misunderstood genius, a man whose brilliance was often overshadowed by his eccentricities. His story is one of triumphs and tragedies, of groundbreaking discoveries and lost opportunities. Even today, Tesla's name evokes a sense of wonder and curiosity as we continue to explore the vast potential of the technologies he first imagined over a century ago. In the end, Nikola Tesla's legacy is not just about the inventions he left behind, but about the enduring mystery of his life, a mystery that continues to captivate and inspire those who seek to push the boundaries of what's possible. The mystery of Tesla's missing files and the elusive death ray remains one of the most perplexing puzzles in modern-day history. Despite the government's swift actions in seizing his documents, the true contents of those files, and particularly the ones that disappeared, continue to stir the imagination of the curious. What if Tesla's most revolutionary ideas, the ones that could have changed the world, are still out there, hidden away in some forgotten vault or classified archive? Could it be that within those missing trunks lies the key to untapped technological power, or perhaps a weapon so formidable that it was deemed too dangerous for the world to know about? Was Tesla's work so far ahead of its time that even today we struggle to comprehend its full potential? The truth may never be fully known, but the possibility that Tesla's most groundbreaking inventions are still waiting to be uncovered lingers like a shadow over his legacy. So, what do you think? Could there be more to Tesla's story than we've ever imagined? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment with your theories about Tesla's missing files and what you think they might contain. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive into Tesla's mystery, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. There's so much more to explore in the world of unsolved mysteries, and I can't wait to uncover them together with you. The Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness, nestled in northern Minnesota, is a vast and untouched stretch of rugged terrain. It's a place where endless lakes, thick forests, and solitude reign. Known for its beauty, it also holds a reputation as unforgiving, a place where nature's power can overwhelm even the most seasoned of adventurers. Jordan Grider was no ordinary man. At 29, he had spent more than a decade living off-grid, mastering the challenges of wilderness life. He wasn't just surviving, he was thriving in a way that few could. Born and raised in New Mexico, Jordan embraced a lifestyle of solitude, choosing the woods over city streets. To him, the outdoors wasn't a retreat, but a way of life. In October of 2018, Jordan Grider set out on what he had hoped would be the ultimate test of his skills and spirit. He had chosen the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness in Minnesota to spend the winter in solitude. For Jordan, this was not just an adventure. It was a way of life, a chance to live simply, surrounded by nature. He found a spot overlooking a serene beaver pond, a picturesque setting that seemed almost too perfect. On October 8th, he shared his final message with his family, a photo of the pond accompanied by a reassuring note. He told them that he was well prepared, with stores of grain and beans to see him through the long, harsh months ahead. On the next day, October 9th, a receipt showed he made one last supply run to a nearby store. It was the last trace of him before the wilderness swallowed him whole. What started as a journey of peaceful isolation would soon turn into a chilling mystery, leaving only fragments of clues in its wake. In the days after Jordan Grider vanished into the Boundary Waters, a strange clue emerged. His white truck was discovered parked illegally in front of a private gate near the Sioux Hustler Trail. It blocked access to the area, drawing attention from authorities. The truck was towed to a nearby lot, but at the time, there was little cause for alarm. Jordan was known for his independence, and it wasn't unusual for him to vanish into the wilderness without notice. However, concerns grew when welfare checks were conducted in October of 2018. Despite efforts to locate him, searchers found no trace of Jordan or his campsite. The truck's presence near the trailhead became a puzzling signpost to a much deeper mystery, one that wouldn't fully unfold until months later. 6 months after Jordan Grider disappeared, the first chilling clues of his fate emerged. In April of 2019, Conservation Officer Sean Williams discovered Jordan's remote campsite deep in the Boundary Waters. What he found was both disturbing and perplexing. At the center of the site was a blood-soaked hammock and a sleeping bag, yet no body. A loaded 9mm Beretta pistol lay untouched inside the hammock, and its safety was still on. Nearby, Jordan's personal belongings were scattered. A phone, a wallet with cash, and other items, but nothing pointed to an explanation for what the scene held. The campsite itself showed no visible signs of a struggle. The tarp overhead and the hammock beneath it were intact, as if undisturbed by any chaotic event. Yet, evidence of wolves in the area, tracks and scat, hinted at a potential presence. It was a discovery that raised more questions than answers, casting a shadow of mystery over Jordan's final moments in the wild. As the harsh winter gave way to the spring in late April of 2019, the search for Jordan Grider resumed. With the deep snow finally melting, investigators returned to his remote campsite in hopes of uncovering new clues. What they found only intensified the mystery surrounding his fate. 12 bones were recovered near the campsite, including a vertebrae, a femur, and several bone fragments. These skeletal remains, weathered by months of exposure, were carefully cataloged and sent for identification. Yet, even with these discoveries, much of Jordan's body remained unaccounted for. His skull and larger bones, such as his pelvis and ribcage, were missing. Cadaver dogs were brought in to aid in the search, combing through the wilderness in tight grid patterns. Despite their efforts, the results were frustratingly sparse. The scattered bones offered no definitive clues about how Jordan died or what may have happened to the rest of his remains. Investigators were left to speculate. Were the missing parts of his body carried off by animals, buried under debris, or lost in the vast wilderness? The absence of Jordan's skull was particularly troubling, as it could have provided critical evidence about his final moments. Even after weeks of intensive searching, the Boundary Waters revealed no more of its secrets. The partial recovery of Jordan's remains raised more questions than answers, leaving his family and investigators to wonder about the strange and tragic circumstances that had claimed his life. What force had left his campsite blood-soaked and body scattered? The silence of the wilderness offered no reply. The mystery of Jordan Grider's death is cloaked in speculation, with several theories attempting to explain what might have happened at his remote Boundary Waters campsite. Each idea carries pieces of the puzzle, but none provide a complete or satisfying answer. Some believe Jordan may have fallen victim to a wolf pack, given the tracks and scat found near his campsite. The idea is chilling, a seasoned outdoorsman taken by predators while sleeping in his hammock. However, experts quickly dismiss this possibility. Wolves are known to avoid humans, and attacks on people are exceedingly rare. More importantly, the scene lacked the hallmarks of a wolf attack. A struggle would have left the hammock and tarp shredded, and the blood-soaked campsite would have been far messier. Despite the evidence of wolves in the area, experts deemed it far more likely they scavenged Jordan's remains after his death rather than causing it. Another plausible theory suggests that Jordan may have succumbed to a tragic accident. Known for keeping his knives razor sharp, he often used them for shaving and whittling. Investigators speculated that he may have suffered a fatal cut, perhaps severing an artery. The blood-soaked hammock supports the idea that he bled out at the site. However, this theory also has significant flaws. None of the knives found at the scene had blood on them, and they were all neatly sheathed, casting doubt on the idea that a hurried or accidental injury occurred. Additionally, no wood shavings or other signs of whittling were found, suggest that Jordan hadn't been whittling when he died. The idea of foul play was considered but quickly ruled out by authorities. Jordan's campsite was in an incredibly remote location, far from trails and human activity. Investigators found no evidence to suggest another person was involved, no signs of a struggle or indication of violence, and no motive. The absence of any clear leads made this theory unlikely in the eyes of law enforcement. In the absence of a clear explanation, online sleuths have turned to more unconventional theories, speculating that Jordan might have fallen victim to something supernatural. Ideas range from a Wendigo, a mythical creature said to haunt remote forests, to a Sasquatch attack. The lack of visible signs of a struggle and the incomplete recovery of his remains fuel these theories. Could something otherworldly have targeted him? To believers, the remote wilderness, eerie circumstances, and unanswered questions leave room for such possibilities and theories. Each theory holds elements that seem to fit, yet none fully explain the strange details of Jordan's death. Was it nature's unpredictability, a tragic accident, or something more mysterious? The theories only deepen the puzzle, leaving us to wonder what truly happened to Jordan Grider in this unforgiving wilderness. In 2020, Jordan's case was officially closed. Despite months of investigation and the recovery of some remains, authorities were unable to determine a definitive cause of death. The wilderness had kept its secrets, leaving behind a mystery that still haunts those who knew him. Jordan's family remains divided on what might have happened. His mother, Rebecca, strongly believes he was attacked by wolves while he slept, pointing to the tracks and scat found near the campsite. She imagines her son, unaware of the danger, being taken by surprise in the dead of the night. To her, it is the most plausible explanation for the bloody scene and his missing remains. Others in his family, however, lean towards a tragic accident. They suspect that Jordan, known for his sharp knives and resourcefulness, may have fatally injured himself while shaving or performing some other routine task. Yet even this theory leaves nagging questions. Why were all the knives sheathed and clean? Why were there no signs of bandaging attempts or bloodied tools? The evidence remains as incomplete as Jordan's story. Whether nature, misfortune, or something unexplainable claimed him, the truth of what happened that October in the Boundary Waters may never be known. His family is left to piece together what they can, each holding on to their own version of what might have happened, as the mystery of his death endures. The story of Jordan Grinder is a sombering reminder of the dangers of isolation and the unpredictable nature of wilderness survival. Even the most experienced outdoorsmen can find themselves in the mercy of forces far beyond their control. In the vast expanse of the Boundary Waters, Jordan sought peace, solitude, and a connection to nature, but the wilderness had other plans. Despite months of searching, countless theories, and painstaking investigations, the truth about what happened to Jordan remains elusive. Was it a tragic accident, an animal attack, or something no one could explain or have anticipated? The answers lie buried in the cold, unforgiving wilderness, a place that guards its secrets well. As we reflect on Jordan's story, we are left with one haunting question. What really happened to Jordan Grider that October night? The Boundary Waters isn't telling, and perhaps it never will. The desert spanning Arizona and New Mexico has long been woven into Native American myths and legends. It's seen by many as a place of mystical power, a spiritual vortex where natural beauty and supernatural energy converge. In 1988, this striking yet harsh wilderness became the backdrop for a real-life puzzle. The mystery started on Halloween. At dawn on October 31st, 140 miles east of Tucson, Arizona, local farmer Larry Rivers encountered a young stranger who said he was searching for the beast. A witness named Larry Rivers recalls an encounter. I pulled over and rolled down my window. "Hello, you lost?" I asked. He looked at me calmly. "No, I'm not lost. "Well, what are you doing out here?" "I'm looking for the beast," he said, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. I chuckled. "You're not going to find any beast out here." "I'll find it," he replied with determination. "Well, I'm going to keep looking." "You need a ride somewhere?" I offered. "No," he shook his head. "I'll be fine." The stranger was later identified as 29-year-old David Stone, who had been missing for 2 years. David was once a highly successful stock market analyst, managing a branch of his father's business in La Jolla, California. However, around 4 years earlier, he expressed a desire to change his life and became deeply involved with the New Age movement. This movement encompassed various religious beliefs and philosophies aimed at self-enlightenment and spiritual growth, often involving practices like crystal healing, pyramid power, and meditation. Unfortunately, David's intense obsession with his newfound spirituality may have led him down a journey with no return. David's father, Harry, described him as an overachiever in nearly every aspect of his life. Known for his kindness and gentleness, he was deeply devoted to his family, always present and caring. Yet, this same man transformed completely when he stepped onto a football field. In his uniform, he became a proverbial commando, displaying a fierce intensity and relentless drive that stood in stark contrast to his off-field demeanor. This duality in David was remarkable. Off the field, he was thoughtful and considerate, embodying the qualities of a loving family member. On the field, however, he was a formidable athlete, channeling his inner strength to every play. This unique blend of strength and kindness defined David, making him both a gentle soul and a powerhouse competitor. For years, David grappled with his dual nature. Then, on October 28th of 1988, during a party at his apartment, David momentarily lost control. A friend of David's, John Duffus, describes the encounter. David started hitting him. He said he might have hit him 20 or 25 times. He didn't really hurt him, but he felt like he had to do that. Roughly around 9 o'clock the next morning, he came down and told me what he had done. I asked him where he was going, and he replied, "Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe to the Grand Canyon, Sonora Desert. I don't know." David told John that he needed some time away to reflect on his explosive behavior, promising to return home in a few days. However, 5 days later, David's car was found abandoned on a desolate stretch of New Mexico highway on Route 80. When they hadn't heard from David, his family had contacted the New Mexico State Police. It was then that they learned his car had been found abandoned and had been towed in. The police interviewed local residents and discovered that several had seen David. Lillian Richens recounted, "We had left our home in Cotton City and were driving up to the ranch. As we passed by, we saw this young man and thought perhaps he'd had car trouble. So we stopped. 'Hi, you broke down? You having car trouble?' we asked. 'No, I'm okay, thank you,' he replied. So we just went on." Another local, Glenn Duncan, shared his encounter. "I heard this voice and saw a man walking across the way, saying, 'Be gone, I am the power.' It struck me as unusual that he'd be out in the desert at that time of year wearing shorts with no coat or anything." David's car was found near the Pyramid Mountain Range, a site significant to New Age philosophy. Every year, many followers visit this area for what are known as vision quests. According to New Age beliefs, a vision quest is an introspective journey undertaken to discover one's inner self. It is thought that through isolation and meditation, a person can experience a vision that reveals their true identity. Harry Stone believed that upon arriving at the Pyramid Mountain Range, David felt it was the perfect starting point for his vision quest. Harry explained that such a journey requires a significant process of preparation, which involves confronting what is termed the beast. The beast represents the evil or negativity within oneself, and it is something that every person must face and conquer before achieving a state of oneness with God. Harry was convinced that David was determined to undertake this personal and transformative quest. 4 days after his son's car was found, Harry Stone joined a full-scale manhunt organized by the Boot Heel Search and Rescue Team. For 3 days, they scoured the desert using 4 planes and over 40 trackers and volunteers on the ground. David's trail led northwest from his car, heading towards Granite Peak. Ralph Doughty found it intriguing that the mountain, when viewed from the south, had a pyramid-like shape. He noted that this distinctive appearance might have held some significance for David's belief, though he couldn't be certain. It was an interesting observation, suggesting a possible connection to the New Age symbolism that might have influenced David's journey. Half a mile from the highway, searchers uncovered the first in a series of bizarre clues left by David. John Hill recounted that searchers discovered a large pyramid made of sand and rocks up in a wash. This was the first clue they found. As John continued further down the canyon, he noticed that the tracks seemed very fresh. He experienced a strange sensation, the hair on his arms standing up, accompanied by an intense feeling that David was somewhere nearby, possibly watching him. On the second day, trackers stumbled upon another puzzling clue. David had constructed another small pyramid, but this time he left behind his gold Rolex watch and 2 quarters. The coins in David's watch were found about a quarter mile from the first pyramid. Roughly 3 miles to the north, searchers uncovered another baffling clue, a sequence of numbers written in the sand. They were later identified as part of the Fibonacci series, commonly used by stock market analysts worldwide. However, the last number in the sequence, which should have been 21, was written as 18 by David. The Stones now believe that the number 18 might have been David's way of signaling that he was in trouble. Ironically, his car was found at mile marker 18, and during his senior year in college, David's football jersey number was also 18. By the final day of the search, the elements had nearly erased David's footprints. However, bloodhounds managed to track his scent across the rocky desert terrain, following it back to Highway 80. The trail abruptly ended at the intersection of Interstate 10, about 13 miles north of where his car had been found. At the time, searchers took it as a hopeful sign that possibly David had hitchhiked out or someone had picked him up and given him a ride. That was the only explanation they could think of for why his scent vanished so abruptly. At the conclusion of the search, Carol and Harry Stone conducted a thorough inventory of the items left in David's car. Hidden inside a pocket version of the New Testament, they discovered a business card with the name Tony Ballesteros and an Arizona phone number. They promptly reached out to Ballesteros. Ballesteros said, "I never met David Stone myself, but a possible way he could have gotten my card is that I placed it in a tree for other friends to find our campsite. Maybe the wind blew it down and he picked it up later. But at this point, nothing makes sense how my card got into his Bible." In addition to the business card, the Stones discovered a note with unusual wording. The note said, "They think the word is in the safe. 6 knives in Rob's room. Use buys your tea and use take your chances. Halloween." No one was sure what the word tea meant. The Stones think it might be like the old saying, you buy your ticket and you take your chances. But the note just says, use buy your tea and use take your chances, Halloween. And that was the day he disappeared, October 31st, Halloween. What is the meaning behind the strange clues David left scattered across the desert? Were they a coded message indicating that he was in trouble, or a hint towards his ultimate destination? It appears that David successfully walked out of the desert. But what happened to him after he reached the intersection of Highway 80 and Interstate 10? Carol Stone explained, "There are always these unanswered questions. You know, life has to go on, and it's very difficult at times. We always want him to feel free to contact us, to let him know that we love him, and we want to hear from him." As the years have passed, the mystery of David Stone's disappearance remains unsolved, leaving his family and friends with more questions than answers. The clues he left behind, from the strange pyramid to the cryptic note, continue to puzzle those who search for meaning in his last known actions. Did David's spiritual quest lead him to an unforeseen fate? Or did he find a way out of the desert, only to begin a new, unknown chapter in his life? We invite you to share your thoughts and theories on what might have happened to David. Could the clues he left behind provide insight into his ultimate destination or state of mind? Your perspective and ideas might shed new light on this enduring mystery. Please leave your comments and join the discussion on what could have become of David Stone.
joined the search for Michael Bryson, and they are not slowing down 5 days later. KEZI 9 News.
27-year-old Michael Bryson has been missing for more than 2 months now, and the search is still very active.
The disappearance of Michael Bryson.
He went missing in 2020 after telling his parents he was going on a camping trip.
The party, or rave as it's been referred to, took place at the Hobo Campground just outside Darina in the Umpqua National Forest.
In the expanse of the Umpqua National Forest, an unsettling mystery began to unfold in early August of 2020. Michael Bryson, a 27-year-old resident of Eugene, Oregon, would soon become the central figure in a disappearance that perplexed and alarmed both his community and the authorities. Michael was well known in his hometown for his generous spirit and his love for music, which often saw him at the heart of local gatherings. His personality was as vibrant as the beats he spun as a DJ. As summer reached its peak, Michael planned to attend a week-long birthday celebration that combined the rustic charm of camping with the unrestrained joy of a music festival. The chosen venue, Hobo Campground, was nestled in the dense, lush settings of the Umpqua National Forest, a place that promised not only natural beauty, but a break from the hustle of everyday life. This trip was not just another outing, it was anticipated as a highlight of the summer, a perfect escape into nature with close friends. Before his departure, Michael visited his parents' home in Harrisburg, a small town not far from Eugene. It was here, in the comfort of familiar surroundings, that he shared the details of his upcoming adventure. His excitement was measurable. His eyes lit up as he spoke about the people he would meet and the music he would bring to life in the forest. His parents, accustomed to their son's adventurous spirit, listened intently, sharing in his enthusiasm while silently nursing the usual parental concerns that flutter about when either a child or adult ventures from home. Michael's journey from his parents' home to the Hobo Campground was uneventful, marked by the scenic drive through Oregon's picturesque landscapes. Upon arrival, he was greeted by the sight and sounds of a party already in motion. Friends and acquaintances, some he had not seen since before the world was gripped by the pandemic, welcomed him with open arms. The campground was alive with energy as tents dotted the sites, lights strung between the trees, and in the distance, the steady pulse of electronic music beckoned. As he set up his own campsite, Michael could feel the pulsing energy of the forest around him. The trees seemed to sway rhythmically with the music, and the night sky was a blanket of stars, undisturbed by city lights. The setting was idyllic, yet, as the night drew on, the isolation of the wilderness around them could not be ignored. It was in this vast, open space that the line between festivity and vulnerability would blur, setting the stage for a disappearance that would captivate and mystify all who heard about it. The mysterious elements of Michael's last known location, the remote and primitive Hobo Campground, the imposing forest, and the joyful yet chaotic nature of a rave in such a setting, all of which contributed to the eerie prelude of his story. Little did anyone know, this vibrant beginning would soon take a turn into the unknown, leaving behind nothing but questions and a haunting silence of the woods where he was last seen. As the vibrant night progressed at the Hobo Campground deep within the Umpqua National Forest, the atmosphere thumped with a mixture of music, laughter, and the rustle of leaves in the evening breeze. The event, a blend of a birthday celebration and a rave, had drawn a diverse crowd of attendees, all there to enjoy the escape in the wilderness. Michael Bryson, known among his friends for his charisma and DJ skills, was right at the heart of it. The evening started promisingly as Michael took to the makeshift stage to perform a DJ set that perfectly captured the spirit of this gathering. His music, a mix of vibrant beats and soulful melodies, resonated through the crowd, setting feet moving and spirits soaring. As he spun track after track, the connection between him and the audience seemed unbreakable, a shared moment of joy that defined the start of what was meant to be a memorable night. However, as the night wore on, the initial euphoria began to give way to a more chaotic undertone. The isolated setting, combined with the consumption of alcohol and other substances, started to alter the mood among the partygoers. Michael, who was at the center of this whirlwind, appeared increasingly out of sorts as the nights drew into the early morning hours. Friends later recounted seeing him agitated and restless, a contrast to the elated DJ who had owned the stage just hours earlier. Around 4 a.m., the situation took a mysterious turn. Michael abruptly left the bus that served as the central hub for the rave, stepping out into the dark forest. His departure was sudden and without any clear indication of his intent. Concerns quickly escalated when a text message surfaced from one of the attendees. Also, we may or may not have spun Michael out, and he is lost in the woods. This message suggested that Michael might have been profoundly affected by substances, enough to disorient him and impair his ability to navigate the treacherous woodland safely. The term spun out gains a chilling significance, especially when paired with the cryptic text message about his condition on the night he vanished. The Urban Dictionary definition of spun out describes a state induced by excessive use of powerful stimulants like methamphetamine or synthetic drugs, which can lead to severe paranoia, disorientation, and erratic behavior. This state is marked by symptoms such as fear of law enforcement and bizarre, repetitive behaviors. Michael's sudden and unexplained departure from the bus at the party might suggest that he was experiencing some of these intense effects. His behavior, as described by the unsettling text, implies that he could have been suffering from a severe level of distress and confusion, exacerbating his vulnerability in the wild. The dense and dark forest, combined with his possible impairment, would have significantly increased the risks that he faced, painting a grim picture of his last known hours. Given the mysterious and alarming circumstances, the search efforts could have been influenced by concerns over his mental and physical state, focusing on areas where someone in a confused and agitated state might wander. This adds a layer of urgency and complexity to the search, as rescuers might not only be looking for someone who was physically lost, but also psychologically distressed and unable to seek help effectively. The broader understanding of what it meant to be spun out helps illustrate why Michael's disappearance was particularly perplexing and worrying for those searching for him. It emphasizes the critical need for timely and thorough search and rescue efforts in such cases, where an individual's condition could drastically worsen their chances of surviving in the wilderness. This revelation sent ripples of worry through the group. A sense of unease began to permeate the crowd. Discussions about what the text could mean and whether Michael was in a state to look after himself became more frantic. The search for Michael did not fully begin until the full daylight illuminated the dense forest, revealing just how daunting the task of finding him would be. The delay in organizing a search, combined with the cryptic, last known circumstances of his departure, complicated the efforts. The forest, vast and indifferent, kept its secrets as the search teams prepared to delve into its depths. The realization of Michael Bryson's disappearance did not dawn immediately on the partygoers at the hobo campground. It was only as the night's festivities waned and the clear light of day began to break through the dense canopy that the gravity of the situation became apparent. What had started as a night of joy and connection had slipped into a scenario fraught with uncertainty and fear. As the morning unfolded, the initial inquiries into Michael's whereabouts transformed into a deep, communal concern. Friends retraced steps, and the last sighting of Michael was scrutinized, all painting a picture of his unexpected and unexplained departure. His parents, not hearing from him as expected, felt a growing unease that something was terribly wrong. The alarm was raised officially late in the day, much later than the critical initial hours following his disappearance. By this time, the chances of finding Michael quickly and safely were diminishing. His parents, struck by a profound fear that every parent dreads, rushed to the campground. Expecting a coordinated effort by the search teams, they were met instead with a disorganized and seemingly indifferent response from the local authorities and the partygoers who were still on site. The search for Michael officially began that evening, almost a full day after he was last seen. The delay was critical and detrimental. His parents, now desperate, spearheaded the efforts, organizing the search parties, mapping out the area, and coordinating with local search and rescue teams. The campground, once a site of a festivity, turned into a command center for the search operation. As the search expanded, the vastness of the Umpqua National Forest became a formidable adversary. The terrain was rough, with thick underbrush, steep ravines, and extensive ground to cover. The forest, which had so recently echoed with the sounds of music and laughter, now seemed ominously silent, as if holding its breath. Search teams called out for Michael, their voices echoing through the trees, met with only the rustle of leaves in response. The mystery of Michael's whereabouts deepened with each passing hour. Aerial drones buzzed overhead, scanning the forest floor. Horseback teams navigated the more inaccessible areas, and volunteers lined up, shoulder to shoulder, to comb through the underbrush. The community's response was a contrast to the initial casual reactions, now marked by urgency and a sense of growing dread. The fading light of each day brought the chilling realization that Michael might not be found easily, or at all. With every shadow cast by the setting sun, hope dwindled, and the forest seemed to grow larger and darker, a vast expanse hiding a mystery that no one was prepared for. The search efforts, fraught with emotional and physical exhaustion, reflected the harsh reality with each hour that passed. The likelihood of finding Michael alive and well diminished significantly. As the initial fervor of the search for Michael Bryson began to wane, the efforts transitioned into a prolonged and grueling phase. Weeks turned into months, and the dense Umpqua National Forest continued to keep its secrets, offering no clues to Michael's whereabouts. The exhaustive daily searches gradually scaled down, yet the determination of Michael's family and close friends never faltered. They continued to organize weekend searches, reaching out to experienced trackers and anyone who could help navigate the challenging terrain. The mystery of Michael's disappearance deepened with each fruitless search. Every uncovered footprint or piece of discarded clothing led to dead ends, further compounding the frustration and heartache felt by those looking for answers. The forest seemed impenetrable, a vast green expanse that swallowed up any trace of Michael. It was as if the earth had opened up and taken him, leaving behind nothing but echoes of his last known night. Inconsistencies in the stories from the last people to see Michael alive fueled various theories and speculation. Some believed he might have decided to walk away from his life, overwhelmed by undisclosed pressures. Others suspected foul play, a theory that his abrupt and uncharacteristic disappearance seemed to support. The lack of concrete evidence made every hypothesis as plausible as it was haunting. Volunteers and law enforcement combed through the area with drones that swept the skies and divers who plunged into the nearby lakes, searching for any sign that could lead to Michael. The community rallied with vigils and fundraisers, maintaining public interest and hope, keeping Michael's story alive and in the media and on social media platforms. Despite the dwindling leads, the search efforts revealed the resilience and depth of the community's commitment to finding Michael. His parents, driven by a profound need for closure, continued to push for answers. They met regularly with investigators, pored over maps, and reviewed hours of drone footage, desperate for a breakthrough. As the seasons changed, the harsh weather conditions added another layer of difficulty to the search efforts. The cold, wet months made the terrain even more treacherous, and the reduced daylight hours shortened the window for searching. Yet, through rain and cold, Michael's family and the community's resolve only seemed to strengthen, bound together by the shared sorrow and collective hope for resolution. This ongoing struggle to find Michael created a somber bond among those involved, each person driven by a mix of hope, duty, and the haunting realization that the mystery might never be solved. The forest, once a place of refuge and joy for Michael, had become a somber symbol of loss and unresolved mystery, its silence a constant reminder of all that remained unknown. Months after Michael Bryson's disappearance, the dense foliage of the Umpqua National Forest continued to hold its silence, deepening the puzzle surrounding his fate. The vibrant energy and promise that once marked Michael's presence at the hobo campground seemed a distant memory, overshadowed by the pervasive mystery and sorrowful wait for answers. The Bryson family, supported unwaveringly by a community that refused to let Michael's story fade into obscurity, found themselves in a state of suspended grief. The forest, a sprawling entity of both beauty and menace, appeared to guard its secrets jealously, frustrating the efforts of even the most determined searchers. As the investigation continued, it transformed from a frantic search into a more methodical, albeit agonizing, quest for any piece of evidence. Michael's parents pored over every detail, revisiting the same spots repeatedly, each visit a reminder of the passage of time without resolution. They organized community meetings, kept in constant contact with detectives, and maintained a presence in the media to ensure that their son's case remained in the public eye. The lack of evidence and definitive leads prompted broader questions about the nature of disappearances in wilderness areas, drawing attention from experts in search and rescue operations, psychologists, and criminologists. Discussions about safety in remote settings, the effects of substance use in vulnerable situations, and the psychological impacts of unresolved cases filled community forums and social media discussions. Symbolically, the forest became a reminder of life's fragility and unpredictability. Each tree, path, and creek in the national forest had been scrutinized, yet the vastness of the wild seemed only to grow, as if mirroring the expanding gap between the known and the unknown. The echoing void left by Michael's absence resonated through a community, a constant call to understand, to remember, and to learn. In this lingering phase of not knowing, the Bryson family and their supporters found a certain strength in unity and purpose. They established foundations to support other families dealing with similar agonies, advocating for better resources in wilderness and search and rescue efforts, and also for the greater awareness about personal safety among partygoers and adventurers alike. As the years passed, the narrative of Michael Bryson did not conclude with clear answers, but evolved into a larger dialogue about loss, hope, and the human capacity to seek truths against dawning odds. The forest, with its undisturbed depths and silent watch over the secrets that it holds, stood as a solemn testament to the enduring search for Michael, a search that, in its essence, transcended the physical and ventured into the heart of human resilience and collective memory. The story of Michael Bryson, unresolved yet unforgettable, continues to echo through the trees, a lingering reminder of the search for truth in the shadows of uncertainty. In the heart of Yellowstone's untamed wilderness stood the Grand Fountain Hotel, a beacon of elegance and luxury in the summer of 1900. Surrounded by the park's breathtaking landscapes, the hotel was a symbol of human achievement amidst nature's majestic beauty. It attracted travelers far and wide, eager to experience the comfort it offered in the midst of the wild. Into the scene of refinement stepped Leroy R. Piper, a 36-year-old visitor from Ohio. With a demeanor quieter than the lively guests around him, Piper seemed almost an enigma. His eyes held a depth that suggested a man on a quest, not just through the vast park, but perhaps a journey within himself. Yet no one could have guessed his arrival at the Fountain Hotel would soon weave his name into one of Yellowstone's most enduring mysteries. Inside the walls of the Fountain Hotel, luxury reigned supreme. Polished wooden floors shone under the warm lights of chandeliers, while guests with their finest attire filled the grand hall with laughter and animated discussions. They shared tales of the day's adventures, from sightings of bison herds to the mesmerizing eruption of geysers, creating a lively atmosphere of excitement and wonder. Amid this vibrant social scene, Leroy R. Piper made his entrance, his presence contrasting with the exuberance around him. With a quiet grace, he navigated through the crowds, a solitary figure among groups of animated guests. His demeanor was reserved, almost reflective, as if he were a silent observer to the festivities rather than a participant. The air of introspection amidst the hustle and bustle of the hotel hinted at the mysteries untold, setting the stage for a puzzle that would soon unfold around him. On his final evening, Leroy Piper was seen dining alone, a quiet observer in the dining room of the Fountain Hotel. He ate as if memorizing every detail of his surroundings. After his meal, he purchased a cigar, a simple act that marked the beginning of a profound mystery. With the cigar in his hand, Piper stepped out into the night, leaving the warmth and light of the hotel behind for the cool, starlit wilderness of Yellowstone National Park. When Piper did not return, concern quickly rippled through the hotel. Initially, there were hopes he might have taken a longer walk than originally thought, captivated by the nocturnal beauty of the park. But as hours turned into days without a sign of him, worry deepened. A search was organized, with hotel staff and volunteers combing the nearby woods and meadows, calling out his name and hoping for a response. The park's vastness made the search daunting. Detachments of cavalry were even brought in, their horses thundering through the landscape, yet no trace of Piper was found. As the search expanded, so did the concern among the hotel guests and the local community. The mysterious circumstances of Piper's disappearance became the focus of whispered conversations and speculative theories. What happened to the quiet man from Ohio after he stepped into the Yellowstone night? The search expanded quickly, with teams venturing deeper into Yellowstone's rugged wilderness. The terrain itself posed significant challenges, with dense forests, steep ravines, and unpredictable geysers and hot springs that dotted the landscape. Despite these obstacles, searchers remained determined, driven by the hope of finding any clue that might reveal Piper's whereabouts. As the search continued with no success, theories and rumors began to swirl among the hotel guests and staff. Some speculated that Piper, perhaps overwhelmed by personal thoughts, had wandered off, losing his way in the vast park. Others whispered of a more sinister fate, suggesting he might have encountered foul play or fallen victim to the wild animals that roam the area. The mystery deepened with each passing day, and the lack of evidence only fueled further speculation. The park's natural beauty became a backdrop to a growing list of possible scenarios, each more puzzling than the last. Among the staff and guests, the question of Piper's fate became a topic of constant discussion, with everyone offering their own theories, but no one able to provide answers. The disappearance of the quiet man had turned into a mystery that captivated and confounded the imagination of all who heard about it. The Fountain Hotel, nestled in Yellowstone splendor, was surrounded by attractions that drew guests closer to the wild heart of the park. Notably, a bear feeding station behind the hotel offered thrilling encounters with nature as guests watched from a safe distance. The bears came to feast on scraps. Additionally, the area was renowned for its geothermal wonders, with geysers and hot springs painting a landscape both beautiful and volatile. These attractions, while marvels to behold, posed inherent hazards that cannot be overlooked, especially in light of Piper's mysterious disappearance. The bear feeding station, though a source of entertainment, highlighted the presence of wild and potentially dangerous animals in the vicinity. This proximity to wildlife sparked concerns that Piper might have had an unexpected encounter with a bear, leading to his disappearance. The geothermal features, with their boiling water and unpredictable eruptions, presented a natural danger. The mesmerizing beauty of these sites could easily lure a visitor too close, with perilous consequences. In the wake of Piper's vanishing, some wondered if he had ventured to admire these natural wonders, only to fall victim to their hidden dangers. As speculation grew, these attractions and their risks became a focal point in the discussion about what might have happened to Piper. The natural beauty and potential peril underscored the mysterious circumstances of his disappearance, adding layers of intrigue and concern to the unfolding story. Following Leroy R. Piper's disappearance, the Fountain Hotel's once vibrant atmosphere shifted to one of unease and whispering curiosity. The lively conversations and laughter that had filled the grand halls and dining room were now tinged with the hushed tones of speculation and concern. Guests moved with a newfound wariness, their thoughts occupied by the unsolved mystery of the man who vanished into the night. Piper's room, left exactly it was before he stepped out, became a silent testament to the mystery. The bed, untouched since that evening, and his belongings scattered as if he would return at any moment, served as a haunting reminder to all those who passed by. The hotel staff, respecting the gravity of the situation, preserved the room's state, allowing no one to enter. It stood as a sort of shrine over a frozen moment in time, embodying the unanswered questions surrounding Piper's fate. This change affected everyone at the Fountain Hotel. Guests whispered their theories and rumors among themselves, while staff members shared concerned glances, all feeling the weight of the mystery that had taken over their once peaceful retreat. The disappearance of Piper had cast a shadow over the hotel, transforming it from a place of escape and wonder to a setting of enduring mystery. The search for Piper extended beyond the immediate vicinity of the Fountain Hotel, reaching to the farthest corners of Yellowstone Park. Despite the exhaustive efforts, which included combing through dense forests, navigating the rugged terrain, and scrutinizing every potential clue, the search parties came up empty-handed. No evidence of Piper's whereabouts ever emerged, deepening the mystery and frustrating those involved. As the search expanded, so too did the theories about what might have happened to Piper. Some suggested he might have accidentally fallen into one of the many geothermal features, a tragic misstep, leaving no trace behind. Others speculated about a possible criminal element, suggesting Piper could have been the victim of foul play, a theory supported by the absence of any clues or witnesses. Speculative theories also circulated, ranging from the idea that Piper, seeking solitude, had intentionally vanished into the wilderness to start anew, to other notions involving wild animals or even supernatural explanations. Each theory, while differing in details, underscored the collective need to make sense of the unexplainable disappearance. As speculation mounted, the mystery of what happened to the quiet man from Ohio continued to captivate and confound, becoming a haunting element of Yellowstone National Park's history and lore. Years after Leroy R. Piper's disappearance, the grandeur of the Fountain Hotel eventually faded into history. By 1916, the once bustling hotel had closed its doors, and in 1927, it was demolished, leaving behind only memories and stories. Among these tales, Piper's vanishing act remained one of the most captivating, a mystery that has lingered in the shadows of Yellowstone's past, untouched by time. Leroy R. Piper's story has left an indelible mark on Yellowstone's history and the experiences of those who visit. It has become a testament to the park's capacity to awe and also to mystify, offering a narrative that compels as much as it warns. Visitors are drawn not only to Yellowstone's natural wonder, but also to the stories and mysteries embedded in its landscape, with Piper's tale being among the most compelling. Reflecting on the nature of unsolved mysteries, Piper's disappearance underscores their profound impact on our collective imagination. These stories, particularly ones as enduring as Piper's, resonates through time, offering endless possibilities and inviting speculation. They remind us the limits of our understanding and the allure of the unknown. In the vastness of places like Yellowstone, mysteries such as Leroy Piper's not only endure, they become a part of the fabric, intriguing new generations and keeping the spirit of exploration and wonder alive.